Namaste, namaste, and welcome to Monday morning mat yoga. This is the second week of our autumn term, and today we are back into our practice proper. We had a slightly easy week last week, but this week we are going to be working on a lot on the upper back, but posture in general. So we will utilize some of the other areas of the body to improve our posture. And as you can see from my lovely accessory, we're going to use a belt. So make sure you've got a belt or some sort of length for this class. It shouldn't need to be super long, so a tea towel is a perfect substitute in this case. And the usual something soft for your knee or a couple of blocks handy as well. Let's put the belts out of the way for now, and we can get started. Take your feet a comfortable distance apart. We're just going to softly bounce into the knees so we feel the feet really getting in contact with the mat and have that sense of beginning to ground through the feet themselves. And then keeping the knees that nice, buoyant, soft, firming a little in the center of the body, finding lift, finding our maybe more ideal posture, soft in the shoulders and twisting from side to side. Initially, just allowing your body to move in the way that it feels good to do so. Maybe allowing the head to follow your movement. Noticing any areas of the body that perhaps feel like they need a little bit of TLC and working gently with them as we proceed through the class. And after you've done a few of these nice loose movements, try firming your hips to the front and allowing the arms to make most of the movement. You might even turn your head a little to look over your shoulders. You might need to press into your feet and into your legs for a bit of support across the pelvis and lifting in the belly muscles. The arms wrap around the body, tapping wherever feels good. And if it doesn't suit you to do it like this, keep it softer. Allow the hips to move a little bit more. Here you might feel that space across the upper back as we move and across the chest, sides of the torso, beginning to become aware of those muscles of support. When you're ready, you can allow your toes to pivot a little, maybe slow your movement down ever so slightly. Still a gentle lift through the belly muscles, but a slightly softer, easier movement here. At least it feels that way to me. I hope that it feels that way to you too. When you're ready, you can add a soft, gentle bounce in the center, a bounce and twist, bounce and twist. Again, slowing the movement down if it feels like that's the right thing to do. We're just going to do a few more of these to each side. And then when you're ready, releasing your bounce, simply pivoting, and then bringing your feet to stillness and steadiness and swaying back to center slowly. When you come to center, standing tall, finding the space that you've just created with that beautiful movement, maybe turning the palms forward to draw the shoulder blades gently towards each other, opening the chest. Allow your fingertips to be heavy, the shoulders to release down, the crown of the head to release up. Then close your eyes or gaze gently downward. Observe not just the effects of our recent practice, but the effect of stepping onto your mat and stepping away from all the other things going on around you. Find that sense of peacefulness, stillness. See if you can relax the effort from your forehead, the area around the eyes, the tongue, the jaw. Notice your breath moving in your body. when you're ready, we're just gently going to open the eyes. Maybe give the arms and legs a little shake out. So we're going to start with some patting and tapping. There are lots of things that are ideal in patting and tapping, the direction that you move your energy. But for a one-off, I would not worry about it at all. If you're doing it all of the time, then maybe you would focus on the ideal. Today, we're going to start at the feet and work up the body. So we're going to soften the knees and bend over in any way that feels comfortable to reach the feet, and just begin tapping the toes and the tops of the feet lightly with your fingertips and hands. Maybe tapping around the ankles. And then we're going to tap up the fronts of the legs and go down the backs of the legs. Tap up the insides of the legs and down the outsides of the legs. Tap up the front of the leg, down the back of the leg. Tap up the inside of the leg, down the outside of the leg. We're going to do one more tapping up the front of the leg, and when we get to the top, we're just going to tap across the bottom of the torso, around the groin, the top of the legs, the buttocks a little bit. And then we're going to take our tapping across our bellies. You can tap in a circle, clockwise circle. This is clockwise to me. It might be backwards on your screen, but if it feels good to do clockwise, it's the movement, the direction of movement of your digestion, so it's quite handy. Or you can just simply tap across the area if you prefer. And then we're going to tap the sides of the body a little bit, maybe across the low back a little bit. You can use the backs of your hands if you prefer. Just be nice, and you can be firm but gentle, the way that you would burp a baby, for those of you who've done that. Okay, and then coming up to the chest and just tapping across the chest in any way that feels good, not too high, just the center of the chest. You can even vocalize and exhale as you tap across the chest. It's a really nice way to release tension from the throat chakra. Tarzan style. And then it doesn't matter which arm, we're going to go down the back of one arm and up the front of the arm. And we're going to do that 2 more times. Down the back of the arm, up the front of the arm, down the back of the arm, up the front of the arm, and then across the top of the shoulder, maybe the upper back a little bit if you can. Support your elbow in front of you, across the collarbone. And then we go to the other side, down the back of the arm, up the front of the arm, down the back of the arm, up the front of the arm, doing the hand as well, down the back of the arm and hand, up the front of the arm, and then across the back of the shoulder, the top of the shoulder, the upper back, and across the top of the shoulder to the collarbone, coming to fingertip tapping perhaps across the collarbones themselves. And we're going to take the hands to the back of the neck, gently tap up the back of the neck, tap around the back of the head, the sides of the head. You don't need to clap across your ears, but you might lightly tap across your ears, the top of the head, the forehead, and then all around the face. And you can do whatever tapping feels good. So if you've got a particular routine, that's nice. If you don't, just be guided by your intuition. We can tap underneath the jaw and the chin in the way that my grandmother taught me to do. And then just gently down the throat. And we're going to finish by taking the hands as high up the back as possible, tapping down the back to the buttocks, around the sides of the body, and rest your hands onto your abdomen. Take a moment in stillness to breathe deeply in and deeply out. Maybe relaxing your arms down if it feels comfortable doing that, feeling the effect of your practice, that sense of thrumming energy. And we'll take a deep breath in and sigh out through the mouth. Very good. When you're ready, if you had your eyes closed, which I did, opening your eyes, you don't, of course, have to close your eyes at all. We'll give the shoulders a little roll. Very nice. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed the tapping. Tapping is a great way to energize your body in a really short time. It's a bit like handstanding. For those of you who don't practice handstand, perhaps you would like to do tapping instead in your day. We're going to bring our awareness into the back of the body and find length, particularly across the back of the neck, and allow the shoulders to be nice and relaxed. If that means turning the palms forward for you so that you feel that you're open across the chest, that's great. If not, just allowing your shoulders to relax. And here we're just gently turning the head from side to side. Doesn't matter which side you go to. Trying to keep your chin parallel with the floor. We only do that because we're trying to keep that length through the back of the neck and trying to keep the crown of the head lifted. Gently from side to side. And this time, as you take your chin to your side, just notice if there's any resistance in the body. Perhaps hang out just shy of that resistance. So not pushing through it, just hanging out somewhere for a deep breath or two. Sighing if you like, relaxing your jaw. And then if you'd like to, you can see if you can turn a little further without forcing, just noticing if that feels good. Wherever you get to, with your opposite shoulder, just move your elbow and shoulder back a bit. See if you can open across your chest a little. Take a couple of deep breaths. And then when you're ready to relax, you can relax your shoulder first. Bring your head back to center, and in the center, just making any small movements with your head that feel good. Could be figure of eights with your nose. It could be a little sway of the shoulders with your neck following. Whatever feels like a nice way to release for you. When you're ready, coming back to center, finding that length, which starts in the feet, but travels all the way up to the crown of the head, setting the shoulders in a way that feels good. Turning your head to the opposite side and just stopping shy of that resistance you meet in the body for a deep breath in and out. Maybe sighing out through the mouth one more time. And then seeing if there's a little bit more room to move into. There might not be, that's okay. So stay wherever you're comfortable and move the opposite shoulder and elbow back. Find that space across the front of the body, particularly across the collarbones, chest. Take another couple of deep breaths. And when you're ready, relaxing your arm first, bringing your head back to center, making any movements that feel good with the shoulders, with the neck, with the head. Smashing stuff. So we're going to come back to the neck again, standing tall, and this time taking ear to shoulder. And we'll do up and over, ear to the opposite side a couple of times, just finding your way here. Notice if it feels differently if you turn the palms forward. Just a gentle sense of length and openness. The next time your ear comes to your right shoulder, just allow your head to hang out here. And see if it feels comfortable to just press the left palm to the floor. Does that increase that sense of length? Is that a nice thing to do? If not, relax the hand. If it feels comfortable doing that, you might like to gently lift and lower your chin. But again, only doing that if the previous posture feels good. Nice and slowly, but the next time your chin comes down, bringing it towards your chest, relaxing your both arms and both shoulders, smiling gently and coming back to center. Make any movements that allow you to release in between. Stand tall and left ear to left shoulder. Again, seeing if it feels like there's enough space to press the right palm to the floor, you can do that. And then if it feels good to do that, you might like to gently lift and lower your chin. And you might find that actually You can lift and lower your chin, but without pressing your palm to the floor if it feels too intense doing it with. The next time your chin comes down, allow your head to come to center, relaxing the right arm, giving yourself a gentle smile, and then coming back to an upright position, bottom teeth over top teeth, lifting the chin up, holding just briefly, and then releasing all the way down, releasing the jaw as well. And when you're ready, returning to center, easing out any effort that you've got left from that practice. Awesome sauce. So let us do a little bit of shoulder work before we move into moving the body as well. So we're going to start with the left shoulder first, because why not? So we're rolling just the shoulder. And if it feels good to roll just the shoulder, you can roll with the elbow. But if it doesn't, just stick with moving your shoulder gently and move in the smallest or biggest circle that you can do without discomfort. If you're working with your shoulder or with your elbow, you might like to try with your whole arm. Maybe it feels good to do that. And just isolating the movement to the shoulder for a few rounds, not moving the rest of the body, but noticing how it feels. When you're ready, you can press into your feet, firm the rest of your body, particularly across the belly and the buttocks, to be able to move your body as your arm moves. Perhaps allowing your head to follow the movement, making your circles as big or as small as suits you in this moment. Finding the big toe joints on the floor so that you really power through your feet. And remember that you can go full matrix with this if you like, really sweeping the arm across the body, getting low, and then doing a nice spiraling back bend if you like. It's just whatever suits you in this moment. We'll do one more of whatever we're doing. And then coming back to center, noticing the difference between the two sides of the body, letting the shoulders soften down, finding that space in the back of the neck again. And if you need to do any releasing, then do some releasing. Hopefully you can feel the difference between the two sides of the body, and we're going to work now with our right. So rolling your shoulder first, just noticing if it feels differently on this side, and it might. If it feels good, you can move with your elbow. And you don't have to, you can stick with your shoulder. You can do the whole practice with just the shoulder moving. If it feels good to move with your elbow, you might try your whole arm. And this side, the second side, I always find it quite difficult to isolate the movement to the shoulder because I know what's coming next. But if you can, just doing a few arm circles, isolating that movement to the shoulder so you can really feel how it's feeling in this moment. Then firming the belly, firming the feet into the floor, and allowing the rest of your body to move. As your arm moves or your shoulder moves, perhaps you can allow your head to move with your movement. If it makes you feel dizzy, of course, feel free to keep your head more centered, more still. Firming the feet into the floor, really using the legs and the knees, the belly muscles, the buttocks. And for those of you who'd like to go full matrix, you can do that spiraling back bend. I call it full matrix because it reminds me of when Neo does that movement to avoid being shot. Not sure we should really think about that in the yoga class, but it's all good. When you're ready, coming back to center, just allowing yourself the opportunity to come back towards balance, dropping the shoulders, releasing anything that needs to be released, maybe taking a moment to close the eyes or gaze gently downward. A couple of deeper breaths, sighing out through your mouth. Very good. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. And here we've got our feet quite wide. So we're going to soften the knees and make figure of eights with the hips. So here we're actually pushing the right hip around the right ankle, and then the left hip around the left ankle. Doesn't matter which direction you've started in, because we're going to do both. And as you begin, you might like to move your body a little bit more, or perhaps you like to start centered. We're going to do both, so it doesn't matter which you choose. So we're just moving the body, beginning to awaken parts of the spine we perhaps haven't had quite so much of a chance to get into, and parts of the hips as well. And just encourage the legs towards strength. When you're ready, you can bring your upper body more to stillness. You might even like to reach your arms away from you, and then moving with the hips and the side of the body a little bit more. It's not that your shoulders don't move at all, it's just that they are more centered, more still. Excellent. When you're ready, going in the opposite direction. I always find that quite hard to change direction. You might feel that you need to move with the movement a little bit. That's okay. So enjoy moving with your movement, Enjoy engaging with your movement, allowing yourself to feel the flow. And then when you're ready, you can bring your shoulders and chest back to stillness or steadiness, and see if you can just find that movement happening a little bit lower down the body. Very good. And then we'll come back to center, just relaxing the arms to the side, rolling the shoulders, maybe shrugging the shoulders a few times, maybe some dancing shoulders if that feels good to you. Very good. So as I said to this class before we started, we need a little support today. So the back of a chair or a sofa or a countertop, a table, or a wall if you've got it. And we're going to come towards the wall so that we can do some hip swinging and some nice posture work that will open up the hips for a little bit later in our class. So we're going to start, doesn't really matter which leg you do. So if you want to do the leg closest to the wall and then the leg furthest away from the wall, but keep your hand on one side, you can. It's just slightly less balanced that way. But for a one-off practice, it doesn't matter. For those of you who get the opportunity to practice the opposite way round, then that is ideal. So choosing whichever leg feels like the right leg to do. And we're going to swing that leg. I'm going to choose the leg that's nearest the wall, I think, this time. So we're swinging the leg backwards and forwards. And we want to keep the foot a little bit flexed so that we don't catch the foot on the floor. But for those of you who would like to, if you want to give yourself a little bit more space, you can actually stand on a block, and then you don't need to worry about it quite so much. So if that feels like a good thing to do, then that's great. If your support is a little bit lower, you might not want to stand on a block. And we're trying to keep the legs straightish and the belly muscles engaged and the chest open. And sometimes it helps to hold your opposite arm out as well, so you have this sense of open across the chest. We're using the upper body to resist the movement as we swing the leg. Very good. And then we're just going to bring the legs back to center, step off support if you're using support, take a moment to feel the effect. Hopefully one side of the body feels slightly longer than the other. And then we can turn around or simply do the opposite side whenever you're ready. Starting with standing tall, flexing your foot a little bit if it feels good, reaching your opposite arm out. Try to keep your legs straightish. And we're using the upper body to resist the movement, so we don't move our whole body with the pendulum swing of the leg. We're resisting, and as we do that, we're building strength, core strength as it happens. Very good. Maybe a couple more here. And then bringing the legs to center, stepping off support if you've got support, allowing your body to settle here. Now, I feel quite breathless from that because I'm really congested today, but you might also notice that your heart rate is elevated, your breath rate might be slightly elevated, and if that's the case, give yourself an opportunity just to come back to center. We're going to do the same thing. So again, if you want to choose a little support to stand on, you can. It's not at all necessary. I'm going to do this round without it. I just wanted to show what it looked like with. And this time, it's the same movement, but we're going to point the toes as the foot comes forward and flex the feet and the toes back towards the body and through the heel as the toes come backwards. So as the foot comes backwards. So we start with a pointed toe in front and then flex the heel back, point forward, flex back. So same thing, but with a little bit more for the leg that's swinging to do. And this is to help us find a little bit of space in various parts of the leg. Also allows us to practice a little bit more with some intention. Nice and firm in the belly. You can reach your opposite arm out forward to the side if you like. We'll do about 3 more here. And then gently bring the legs together, step onto both feet, feel your weight drop into both feet, feel the difference between the two sides of the body. If it feels too intense to do so much of this, you can simply do a few fewer, or you can rest out of the second practice. We're turning to the opposite side for exactly the same thing, standing nice and tall, reaching the leg forward, pointing the toes, flexing the heel backwards. So as long as you're working with the opposite leg, that's fine. Try to keep the effort of your hand into your support, whether that be the wall or the chair, as light as possible. So we're doing as much as we can with our bodies. Reaching the opposite arm out to keep the chest open, nice and firm across the belly. You can probably feel your buttocks working as the leg comes back. Maybe 2 more. And then bringing the feet back towards each other, standing onto both feet. Taking a moment here just to roll through the shoulders as the feet find their steadiness and the pelvis rests. Very good. Whew, excuse me, really does catch me. Okay, so this time we're going to turn in the same direction, but we're probably going to use the outside leg. So if you've used the outside leg before, it doesn't matter. I was using my inside leg, so that's all good. We're standing nice and tall, pointing the toes forward on the outside leg, and then just drawing a circle on the floor around the body with the toes. So the weight of the leg is much lower. We don't really have any effort into the floor. It's a really light touch. We need to use the muscles of the sides of the body and the center of the body to be able to keep this elevated, open-chested posture, which is what we're working on, as we move the leg around, crossing behind and in front of the standing leg if possible. Just another couple of these. Very good. As your leg comes back to the center this time, we're going to bend the knee up in front, and we're gently going to swing a bent knee behind us and in front. So we want to keep that same sense of open across the chest, fingertip touch on our support, opening back and forwards. And if that feels good, then you can move in a nice big circle with that knee. And it might be that here you need a bit more support from the wall because there's an awful lot more going on. But remembering to use those muscles of the body to stand upright when you're ready, going in the opposite direction. And making your hip circles as big as feels comfortable to you. So this is an opportunity to move into the space that our body has. Maybe do 1 more. And then stepping onto both feet, allowing your feet to find the floor, dropping the weight into the feet, maybe rolling through the shoulders. Notice how much effort there is across the sides of the body and the upper body, just holding yourself in that beautiful posture as the rest of the body works. Let us turn around and do the same thing on the other side. So it's the outside leg working. We're standing tall, pointing the toes forward. Toes stay down on the ground as we reach the leg behind us and across the body in front if possible. You can reach your other arm nice and wide, allowing the belly muscles, the sides of the body, upper back, all to offer support so that we maintain this beautiful posture. You might feel like a ballet dancer. It's not dissimilar. And that foot is light on the floor, might even float off the floor occasionally. Let's just do one more. As your leg comes back to the front, bending your knee, flexing your foot, and doing a couple of swings of the leg bent in this position, backwards and forwards. Again, trying to find that lift in the body, that sense of resisting the movement, opening spaces we didn't know we had. And then when you're ready, you can make big circles. And if big circles don't feel comfortable, make smaller circles and slower circles. So the slower you move, the more awareness you have of the movement, but the more muscular control you have to exhibit. So slow is always good. When you're ready, we can go in the opposite direction. Trying to stand tall throughout. It's quite hard to resist the impetus to move the body to counterbalance, but do it if you can. One more in this direction. And then stepping onto both feet, allowing the feet to find the ground, the shoulders to rest down. Organize your body upright and simply close the eyes or gaze gently downward. Take a few deeper breaths. Sigh out through your mouth if it feels good. Maybe once or twice. Very good. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes again. So I would really like to come back to standing to do some work standing, but I feel like we need some time off our one foot at a time. So we're going to come down to the mat to do a little bit of cat-cow, a little bit of downward dog, and see if we can find some waving vinyasas as well. So join me on the floor. Doesn't matter how you get there. If you'd like to do a little malasana on the way down, you can. We're going to place our hands onto the mat. Knees, wherever is comfortable for you. The opportunity here is to find space underneath the body. So if we arrive and we sort of sag into our shoulders and our hips, the belly kind of relaxes and it just doesn't look very supported. So we're pressing into the mat, even with the tops of the feet here, and maybe activating those belly muscles to assist. If it feels comfortable, you can do some shoulder rotations here. I might just give myself a little bit more space. You can keep the elbows a little soft if that helps. And we're just finding that sense of gliding the shoulder blades around on the back of the body. If you're rolling one way, try rolling the opposite way as well. And when we first start doing this, we just sort of feel like we're going up and down a little bit, but eventually with some practice, you will get to the stage where you feel like you're actually making lovely rotations with the shoulders. Really nice thing to add to your practice, particularly if you're just doing a quick warm up with some cat-cows. When you're ready, coming back to the center and finding that little wriggle. So we're going to scoop the belly in and then lengthen the chest forward, lengthen through the crown of the head, and then round through the spine. Press the mat away, scoop the belly in, chin to chest. Press into the feet just gently. Maybe soften the elbows to glide the shoulder blades down as you open the chest, and then rounding through the spine to tuck under and lift. Press into the fingertips as well. Take the effort out of the wrists. Just a few backwards and forwards. Allow your head to follow the movement. We'll do just one more. And then we're going to take the toes together, the knees apart, and find our way down into a child's pose, extending the arms ahead if it feels good, or bending the arms at the elbows to provide support for the head. If you've got your arms extended and you wish to, you can turn the palms upwards. You just get a different kind of sense of length across the shoulder. And taking a few deeper breaths, finding a sense of grounding, releasing, softening the effort across the center of the body and the face. Relaxing the fingers if the palms are turned upwards. And then whenever you're ready, you can pad your hands back towards you to kneel upright or come back onto hands and knees because it's where we're going to go anyway. And we just want to roll the shoulders, maybe release the wrists. And you can do that kneeling up or sitting if you prefer as well. Don't feel like you need to kneel all the way back, but you can if you like. Okay, so we're going to come back onto our hands and knees again, but we're going to come into downward facing dog. So find your center, your supportive hand position, pressing the fingertips into the floor, tuck the toes, and then just bring your chest back towards your bent legs so that the abdomen maybe rests towards the thighs a little. Does, if you like me, you've got extra contingency. Scoop the belly in, and then gently lengthen the tailbone up towards the ceiling, keeping the hands pressing into the floor, fingertips particularly, and then ease one heel towards the mat, bending both knees, and ease the opposite heel down. So just doing a little bit of walking from side to side, but pressing chest towards thighs, lengthening the sides of the neck, maybe gently turning the head if it feels comfortable to you. If it feels good to you, you can really move through the shoulders as well, but you might prefer to stick with this more centered position. If downward dog is not for you today, that is okay. So simply doing a little bit perhaps of lying on your belly, or you might even like to lie with your legs up the wall and the torso supported by the floor, which is the same sort of position. And so it allows the body to be in that position, which is nice. We'll do a couple more to each side. And then again, bringing the knees down. This time, if you wish to, you can keep your knees together, or you can take your knees apart, forehead towards the floor. And if the knees are together, you can rest your arms down by your ankles, taking a lovely rounded child's pose, or the child's pose of your choice. And of course, the alternative is always just to lie flat on the belly, if you would like to. A couple of deeper breaths, softening the effort across the shoulders, the face, the belly. Very good. And then when you're ready, you can come back to an upright position, rolling the shoulders, maybe rolling the wrists if it feels comfortable to do that, or if it feels like a nice release to do that. So we're going to do a couple of waving vinyasas, excuse me, but we'll keep the knees down. So for anyone who wants to do this with the knees up and the legs extended, please feel free. Today, I just know that that's maybe a step too far for my energy. And because we're back to practice, we haven't done any waving vinyasas recently, you might prefer to ease back into it as well. We can always go right at them next week. So for a waving vinyasa, we want the hands a little bit further forward than the knees than they were before. And we're going to tuck the toes under gently. So we've got this real puppy dog pose, extended position, but with the legs quite active, pressing into the feet, rounding through the spine. Keep looking back towards your knees until your shoulders come over your hands. And then you're going to glide the shoulder blades down, look forward, open the chest, firm in the belly and the buttocks, and then just round through the spine to come back the way as well. So it's a really nice undulating wave through the body. We can keep it moving. So as soon as you get back, rounding through the spine, pressing off the feet, scooping the belly in, gliding the shoulder blades down, opening your chest, soften the elbows, and then rounding through the spine opposite way to take the hips back towards the heels. Just one more, rounding forward, gliding shoulders down. And in this position, you might like to just gently sway the chest from side to side, do a little turn through the chest. You might prefer not to if you don't want to hold, go straight back the opposite way, which we're all going to do, and finish in your extended puppy dog pose. So from this extended puppy dog pose, we're going to tuck the toes flat and bring the hips forward over the knees. So it's like we're doing cat-cow, but instead we're going to reach the hands forward and take a little bit of Anahata Asana, taking the center of the chest towards the floor. Now, I know that there's at least someone in this class who's got a pulley shoulder at the moment, so cat-cow as your alternative. So do a few cat-cows if you prefer. For those who are happy to do Anahata Asana, we're pressing into the tops of the feet, scooping the belly in, gently drawing the chest back towards the thighs to bring it down towards the floor, maybe chin to the floor or forehead to the floor, and then rounding through the spine to come back to this uplifted, extended hands and knees position. So a little undulation as well. We're moving with intention. We've got that lovely strength through the arms, strength through the shoulders, maybe a little openness at the front of the body, across the chest and the throat. And we'll just do one more, and we'll hold here if we are comfortable doing so. If not, keep going and pulsing up and down. But if you're holding, try to soften the effort in your hands and just allow your body to hang out here, the chest getting slightly heavier, lifted in the belly muscles to support the movement. When you're ready, you can gently come back to center, walking your hands back in towards you, just rolling through the wrists, making any movements through the shoulders and the arms and the chest and the neck that feel good. So we release the effort of that practice. We come back to center. And Anahata Asana is really good for opening the chest, but it sometimes takes us a while to feel comfortable enough to get to the floor. And of course, in any posture, the fullest expression of the posture isn't our aim. Our fullest expression of the posture is our aim. So whatever feels good to you, you can be much higher up and still enjoying this sense of open across the chest. And if you feel that you're higher up, but you'd like to get that sense of connection, you can always use a block underneath the body that you can touch your chest down onto, so you feel that sense of connecting down. Awesome sauce. Now we've got our belts ready and we've got them to hand, I hope. And you can sit in any way that feels comfortable. So if you're comfortable kneeling, that's great. If you prefer to be kneeling up, or if you prefer to sit cross-legged, do so. We're just going to practice the motion of the arms because we're going to come into a locust position and use this motion of the arms. It's quite an intense, but it's all good. It's all good. We'll do it. So we want to have the belt between the arms in a way that makes the belt taut. We don't have to grip it hard. We don't have to pull it firmly apart. We just need enough effort to keep the belt taut so it doesn't dangle in the middle. And then here, giving your shoulders a few rolls and then reaching your belt up. And we want to aim to get the belt either right over the head, so the arms are either side of the head itself, and lengthened into the elbows a touch, but not locked straight. So if you want to widen your hands on the belt, then that will give your shoulders more room to move. And if you don't need to widen your hands on the belt, then don't. So wherever you get to, we want to avoid flaring the ribs to be able to make the movement. So we use the belly muscles to connect the ribs towards the pelvic girdle, the pelvis. And then we're gliding the elbows back as we bend the elbows to bring the belt behind the head, or perhaps behind the neck, or perhaps to the top of the shoulders with the elbows moving backwards. So no good if you're doing this, moving the elbows backwards. And then we're lifting the belt up. We're just going to lower the belt down. So if this feels like a movement too far, particularly if you're working with a shoulder that's not comfortable at the moment, just doing some gentle lifts to wherever you meet resistance and lower. Don't push through that resistance. And then a few shoulder wriggles, and that will help your shoulder to recover and heal. For those who are comfortable, you can raise the arms up, find that firmness across the belly, try to reach the arms behind the body if it's possible, bending at the elbows, keeping the elbows back to keep the chest open, bringing the belt down to wherever feels comfortable. Really feel that engagement across the upper back, particularly if you're lightly pulling into the belt, and then reaching the arms up and lowering down. Let's do one more like that. If you can, bring your hands a little narrower, reaching the belt up, firming the front of the body, firming the belly muscles, elbows back as you bend them deeply to draw the belt down. Doesn't matter where it gets down to. And then reaching up and lowering down. And then just taking a moment here to soften the effort that we've made across the shoulders there. I'm just going to have a quick swig of water, and then we're going to bring ourselves down onto our bellies. Excuse me. Just lubricating the voice there, so that we can do this same motion of the arms, but on our bellies, finding also a little locust pose, perhaps. We'll start with just the upper body though. So coming down onto your mat, you need enough space so that you can reach your belt out in front of you and take your forehead to the floor. To support the body in this position, we want to roll the pelvis into the floor, pubic bone down, firm the tops of the feet down, firm the buttocks, and activate the belly muscles. Then we want to lengthen the arms so they're slightly off the floor, and then draw the elbows back and down as we draw the belt towards the upper back, and then reach it over the head again. And here, we're going to do that 2 more times. We can feel if we're flaring the ribs, because we'll get that sense of lift. The head can stay down all of the time on this variation. So just 3 of these, nice gentle up and down, and then resting the arms for a moment, maybe turning the head to one side, or just making a pillow out of the hands, turning the heels out, the toes in, and giving your hips a little wiggle to release the effort in the center of the body and the buttocks. Find a bit of stillness and take a deep breath, sighing out through your mouth. Very nice. So now we're going to do that same motion with the thighs together, pressing the tops of the feet down, the pubic bone down, activating the buttocks, activating the belly muscles. But this time we're going to lift the head and shoulders up. So starting from this lifted position, firm in the belly and gliding the elbows back as we bend the elbows, drawing the belt towards the upper back and releasing away. We're going to fold to the floor in between so the forehead touches the floor. We're going to firm the bottom of the body again, firm the belly muscles, reach the arms up, lifting the head and shoulders, and then glide the elbows back and down, drawing the belt to the upper back and reaching away and releasing towards the floor. If anyone prefers to keep the head down, please do so. Firming the pubic bone, the feet, firming the buttocks, firming the belly muscles, reaching the head and shoulders up, and then drawing the belt back to the top of the upper back if possible, back of the head if not, and reaching the belt away and releasing down. Again, make a pillow out of your hands, turn the toes in, the heels out, give your hips a little bit of a wiggle. Take a few deep breaths, exhaling through the mouth. Back bending from the floor, this is prone back bending, is a way that really is a posture or a set of postures that really activates our cardiovascular system. So it is quite demanding for it. So give yourself enough time for your breath rate and your heart rate to come back towards normal or to normal, if possible. And then we're going to do this one more time. And you can either stick with the one that we've just done or with the head on the floor, or you can lift the head and the shoulders and the legs as well. So this is option number 3, level number 3. Do any level that suits you best. We're going to start with the head down, the thighs towards each other, press the feet down to begin with. Press the pubic bone down, activate the belly muscles, activate the buttock muscles, and then we're going to lift arms, legs, and heads up. And then from here, just gently pull the belt apart and then draw the elbows back. So we're opening across the chest, nice and firm in the belly, and then reaching the arms forward. If you can, stay up and do 2 more. Gliding the belt down, using that lift in the elbows, gliding the belt up, nice and firm in the belly. And one last one. Gliding down, gliding up. Release all the way down to the floor. Turn your head to one side, toes in, heels out, wriggle through the hips. If you prefer to keep your head centered, you can, absolutely. Just making a pillow with the backs of the hands. Take a couple of deeper breaths. And then from here, we're going to come back onto our hands and knees. So coming in any way that feels good to you, but maybe with the knees wide, we're going to find a little twisted child's pose. I love the name of that, twisted child. Parivriti Balasana. There we go. We're going to reach the arms out in front. Try to allow the hips to sit back as much as feels comfortable, but if you're more comfortable doing this upright, you can, absolutely. Tent the fingertips of the right hand, and we're going to slide the left hand underneath the body, underneath the right side, taking the left side of the head to the floor, softening the right elbow. So we get a sense of length across the top of the shoulder, the back of the shoulder. If you're far away from the floor, just bend your right forearm so that your right hand provides a pillow for your head. Wherever you are, just taking 1 or 2 deep breaths. We don't want to hold it for too long at the minute. But we need a little bit of relief. Then we're going to tent the fingertips of the right hand again, slide the left side back, and in the center, just making a little sway with the chest, if that feels comfortable, just to rebalance ourselves. Then tent the fingertips of the left side, slide the right hand under, take the right shoulder and ear to the floor, softening the left elbow. If you need to, bending that left hand underneath the head to give you a little bit of support. Wherever you are, softening and taking a couple of deep breaths. And you might be aware of the sense of length across the shoulders where we've just made effort, where we've just created strength and shortness, finding length and spaciousness again. One more deep breath in and out. And then tenting the fingers of the left hand, sliding the right hand back to center. And then we'll come back into our hands and knees position, just rolling the shoulders a little if it feels good to you, or doing a little sassy cat, one of my favorite things to do. Shoulders, hips, sides of the body, neck, head, all moving in a way that feels good to you, just to wriggle out the effort, keep everything nice and buoyant and nice and strong from center. And then when you're ready, you can bring yourself all the way back to center and rest back onto your knees. Okie dokie, guys. So we have really prepared the body. Hopefully you can feel that now. And we're going to come up so we can do similar practice, but standing. So similar shape with the arms and with our belts, but standing. So give yourself a little belt accessory and make your way to your feet. Excuse me. So one of the great things about doing this practice when you have a cold is that it really is opening across the throat and the heart and the chest in general. So it allows you to breathe as much as you're able to breathe in a congested fashion. So we are going to start with our feet on the floor. And so we find our Tadasana position, but with our arms down to our sides. Use the belt, again, that sense of just lengthening the belt ever so slightly, a gentle activation. And as you do that, you can feel the shoulders activate. We want to firm the belly muscles so we don't get any flaring of the chest, little softness across the knees perhaps, reaching the belt forwards and up, just taking it to wherever is comfortable. If you can, either side of the head, if you can, slightly behind the head, and then bending the elbows to bring the belt behind the head, the neck, or the shoulders. Just at this bottom movement, we can gently give ourselves a little twist from side to side. You can really feel that sense of length through the body as you twist. And then when you're ready, coming back to center and reaching the belt all the way up and all the way down. Give yourself a little wriggle of the shoulders from side to side as well. So we're now going to take ourselves into a forward bend. But the forward bend we want to get to is one where we're parallel to the floor. So feet can be quite wide. We can have the knees nice and soft, and we want to lift in the belly muscles so that we get that sense of length all the way from the hips to the crown of the head. So let's do that with our belt. So begin in your wide foot Tadasana position. Excuse me. Reach your belt all the way up so that you find length in your torso, down the sides of the body. Maybe just glide your shoulder blades down a touch, firm in the belly, soft in the knees, reaching forward into that forward bend with the belt extended away over the head. And then here, again, gliding the belt down to the space just behind the neck and shoulders and reaching forward. And we're going to do that one more time. Nice lift in the belly muscles, soft in the knees, open in the chest. And then here, folding all the way into a forward bend. So we let the belt come all the way down. We want to play a little bit with the weight in the feet. So we don't want all the weight into the heels or all the weight into the toes, but somewhere across the center. We're going to hold elbow to elbow, soft in the knees, and just gently pendulum the body from side to side. Aces. Maybe a little scoop of the belly. Relax the back of the neck. And when you're ready, coming back to center. And here we're going to just hold the belt in one hand, bend the knees deeply, reach the hands forward, find a deep chair pose, and then press through the feet to come up to a standing position. Float your arms down to your side, give your shoulders a little roll, find that lovely softening of the effort of the practice out of the shoulders in any way that feels good to you. Aces. So now we're going to try this balancing on one foot. Not exactly as we did. So we're going to take our belts over our heads, and then I'll just demonstrate really quickly so you know where you're going. So we'll be here, we'll take the knee up in front of us, we'll find the belt behind the shoulders, and then here we're going to transition into warrior three, and then from warrior three, try reaching the belt forwards and drawing it behind the body again, and then coming back to upright, and then stepping the foot to the floor. Okay, so this is the plan. Don't worry if you need to put your foot down. If you feel like your shoulder is not happy doing this sort of work, then you can simply put your belt to one side and do the same work, but without the arms, or you can do the arms in any way that feels good to you. Okay, smashing. Let us do it together. So we want our feet a little bit closer together than we had the previous round. And we're going to start with standing tall, firming the belly, letting the shoulders be heavy, reaching the arms up. And as the arms come up, shoulders down. We're going to transfer the weight onto the left foot, free the right heel from the mat. Make sure your point of focus is ahead of you, and then lifting your right knee up. And when your right knee is up, drawing the elbows wide, taking the belt down behind the head or the neck or the shoulders. And then from here, transitioning into that warrior three. So lengthening the right heel up behind you, thinking about firmness in the belly, reaching the belt and the hands forwards, and then once more drawing the belt behind the body. When the belt's behind the body, bending your knee to come back into an upright position, standing on one leg, and then reach your foot to the floor. Relax your arms down. The belt can stay where it is. Just give your shoulders a little bit of a shake. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. And we're just doing this once or twice, not too many times. So feet nice and close together, firm in the belly, reaching the belt up, shoulders stay down. And then here, I'm going to transition the weight onto the right foot, float the left heel up, bring the left knee up, and bring the belt down to the backs of the shoulders or the back of the neck. From here, transitioning into warrior three, lengthening the left leg behind, lifting that heel, lengthening the belt, arms straight over the head, keeping that lift in the belly and drawing the belt back down to the back of the shoulders or the back of the neck. Bending your knee as you transition back to an upright position. And then relax your left foot down, relax the hands so the belt can just wrap around your neck and give your shoulders a little bit of a jiggle. Excellent stuff. Releasing your wrists if you need to. Sometimes when we grip very hard, it's hard on the hands, but we should be gripping gently enough just to keep the belt wide. Just notice if you're maybe holding on a bit tight. When we concentrate, of course, that is something that can easily happen. Whew. So this time, we'll maybe add just one more thing to this transition. So we're going to come into our transition with our belts long, do one, but then step the back foot to the floor, find warrior one and do one more. And then we'll come back the way we came through warrior three to standing upright to putting the foot down. If at any stage you feel that that is maybe just a touch too far, then stick with the previous rounds. You can either just do a few more standing movements with the belt or just standing with one leg up movements with the belt. Or rest and wait for us to catch up. Okay, so with the feet nice and close together, rolling the shoulders down, firm in the belly and the buttocks, use your point of focus, reaching the arms up, transferring your weight onto your left foot, feeling the right heel free of the floor. Find that you're lifting out of that left hip, not sinking into it. And then as you bend your belt behind your shoulders, you can raise your knee up, or you can do it one at a time if you prefer. From this position, transitioning into warrior three. We're going to lengthen the leg behind us and lengthen the arms in front. And then keeping the heel of the right leg up, nice and firm in the belly, bringing the belt back to the space behind the shoulders, stepping the right foot to the floor. Left knee is bent. We're going to press into the legs to find warrior one. So we're nice and upright in the torso, lifting the belt up, maybe opening the shoulders slightly further back if it's comfortable. Little tuck under of the pelvis, little lift in the belly muscles, and then gliding the belt back to that space behind the shoulders. This time we're going to take the belt up and then transition back into warrior three with the arms extended. So reach the hands forward, reach the torso towards the floor, find lightness on the back foot as you transition into the front leg. And then from here, arms extended, arms come down as the knee comes forward as we come to stand upright. And then releasing both feet to the floor. Release the belt behind the neck. Just give yourself a little wiggle. One more time to the left. And then I promise we're going to wind down and do some releasing of the shoulders. So we're going to take our feet towards each other, belt back in front of the body, soften the shoulders down, find that lift through the body, reaching the arms up over the head. And take your weight onto your right foot, free the left heel. As your belt comes down, maybe float your left leg off at the same time to the bent knee position, or you might prefer to do it one at a time. From here, transitioning into warrior three, taking your left heel backwards, lengthening the left leg, lengthening the arms at the same time, finding length in your warrior three, and then stepping the left foot to the floor, press into both feet. Front knee is bent, coming into an upright position. We're going to glide that belt down to open the chest. Elbows back, firm belly, a little tuck under perhaps, and then reaching the arms up. We're going to come back into warrior three. So reaching the arms forward, torso comes slightly forward, transition the weight into the right leg, floating the left heel up, long arms, long leg, and then as you bring your knee forward, you can bring your belt down to your knee, to meet the knee if you like, and then step onto both feet. Relax with the belt around your shoulders or on the floor. Roll in your shoulders a few times. Give yourself a little wiggle through the sides of the body. Shake out through the wrists or the legs, whatever feels like the right thing to do. You'll be pleased to know that these belts are going to one side because we are done. Done with them anyway. Take a few deep breaths, exhaling through your mouth whenever you need to. I just realized I've become untucked, so I'm tucking in again. And then we're going to do a little Garudasana. So we're going to come into eagle pose. So we've done quite a lot of one-legged balance today, but if you feel that you need the support of a wall for this, then absolutely go for it. So when we do, we let the shoulders just relax for a bit while we do the legs. So we're using a point of focus ahead of us, taking the weight onto the left leg first. We're using the right leg to move first. So we're bending the left knee deeply, scooping the belly in to find lift, crossing the right leg over the left as high up the thigh as possible, trying to wrap the right leg around the left. We're hooking the toe if you're able to. It doesn't matter if not. You can do this standing with the ankles crossed and the right toes on the floor if you'd like to. So this is our legs. We're going to step onto both feet. Just take a moment to give yourself a wiggle, a shake out of anything that needs shaking out. And then same thing on the other side. So we take our weight onto our right foot, bending the right knee, and then crossing the left leg over as high up towards the top of the thigh as possible, hooking the foot if you can, or finding whatever variation, maybe with the left toes on the ground, works for you. Use your point of focus, and then when you're ready, uncrossing your legs, standing onto both feet. So that's our legs. I know we've done it many times before in class, but sometimes it's really nice to do just the arms or just the legs. So now we're going to do the arms on their own. Take the arms nice and wide. We're going to cross the left arm over the right arm, hug the shoulders towards us. Let the elbows be heavy onto the chest. Take a few deeper breaths. We're trying to find space between the fingertips behind the body. And then when you're ready, you can keep the upper arms as close together as possible and see if you can bring the palms of the hands or the backs of the hands towards each other. It doesn't matter. So if you are just aiming in this direction, you can't quite get there, you still get that beautiful sense of length by keeping your intention to move the hands towards each other. If you're close, you might find that rolling through the wrists to bring the palms together this way also works. But if you can, wrapping. And then here we're just doing a gentle movement of the elbows, maybe a little twist, a little bit of lift and lower, whatever feels good. And then taking the hands to the shoulders, let them softly come down the body across the belly to turn open. And anything you need to do here to release. It's always okay to release your neck. And then we'll try the opposite side. So taking the arms nice and wide, wrapping the right arm over the left, hugging your shoulders, let the upper arms, or the arms in general, just be heavy onto the chest. Take a couple of deep breaths, Feel that space between the fingertips on the upper back. And then keeping the upper arms as close together as possible, bring the backs of the hands or the palms of the hands towards each other. Feel that sense of pressing the arms together. And then you get that lovely sense of release across the top of the shoulders and around the shoulder girdle in general. And then we can do a little bit of lifting and lowering, maybe twisting from side to side, or anything else that feels good. We're going to do some different movements in this position in a few moments, taking the hands to the tops of the shoulders, gliding them down across the belly to turn open and release. So one opportunity to do Garudasana in full to each side, or you can do whichever of these either legs or arms that you found most suitable. So we're going to start on the left leg for those who are doing both bits together. Find your point of focus, move your weight onto your left foot, bend the left knee deeply, lifting in the torso to cross the right leg around the left leg as high up towards the thigh as possible, and then taking the arms and crossing the left arm over the right arm. So it's opposite arms and legs. Bring the backs of the hands or the palms of the hands towards each other. See if you can still find your point of focus. Breathe deeply. For those who would like to do the crouching version of this, where you bend the knees and elbows towards each other, you can just keep length through the body as much as possible. Nice deep breaths. And then whenever you're ready, you can unwind onto both feet. Let the arms slide down the body and across the belly to turn open. Give yourself any lengthening that feels good. And we can do the opposite side. Maybe shake out your left leg a little, because it will feel, mine feels really stuck to the floor. Maybe yours does too. And then taking the weight onto the right foot, bending the right knee deeply, use your point of focus, crossing the legs, trying to wrap as much as possible. Arms go wide, it's right arm over left arm this time. We're hugging the shoulders, upper arms towards each other, backs of the hands or palms of the hands together. Woo-hoo. Not quite as balanced on this side, at this end anyway. Nice and firm in the belly. If you'd like to do the deeper variation, bringing the knees and elbows towards each other, please feel free. Otherwise, holding and breathing. And then whenever you're ready, coming out, stepping onto both feet, hands to the tops of the shoulders, across the body to turn open, giving yourself another little wriggle here. Very good. Standing in the center, standing nice and tall. Going to bring the chin towards the chest and just gently roll the right ear towards the right shoulder, maybe lifting your chin ever so slightly, and then chin to chest. And roll left ear to left shoulder, maybe lifting your chin ever so slightly, and chin to chest. A couple more times to each side. If it feels good to do this, if not, you can hang out to one side, just do a gentle nodding. I might do that anyway. And then the same on the other side. Gentle nodding if it feels good, or keep going side to side if you prefer. Whenever you're ready, meet back in the center with your chin on your chest. Smile to yourself and then bring your head upright. Roll your shoulders a few times just to release. Awesome sauce. So for anyone who would like to, you can do your relaxation propped up. So this will be just for those who fancy it. So if you want to use a bolster with a brick underneath your head end, place your bolster on the floor and then sit and lengthen yourself across your bolster. It might be just the thing for relaxation. If you prefer, if your upper back's feeling quite tired, which mine is, if you prefer, you can take legs up the wall, or, which is what I'm going to do, legs over the bolster instead. So just moving any equipment you don't need to one side, preparing for relaxation. If there's any other movements you feel like your body wants to do, if you want to take a child's pose, if you want to do a nice forward bend, then please feel free. We were going to do a little bit of goddess pose or horse stance with the eagle arms, but we didn't get a chance. So apologies for that. Making yourself as cozy as you can and preparing just to release all the effort of our practice. So we're coming to lying down, and you might like to, before you get super settled, you might like to bend your knees into your chest, give your knees a roll or back a little bit of a massage across the floor. I quite like to take my knees one way and my head the other, making my head nice and heavy on the floor. This is quite a nice one to do, and it allows us to massage a little bit through the upper back as well. If you really want to massage your upper back and you feel like it needs a release, you can allow your legs to be relaxed and then take your arms across your body, just as we do in preparation for Garudasana. Maybe chin towards the chest a little, and just give a little light roll from side to side here, which is quite a nice thing to do. And we can do the same thing on the other side, just crossing the arms first, nice and heavy arms, so the back of the neck feels lengthened as well, and then a gentle rock from side to side with the upper body. If you found a way that feels like a nice release for you, then of course, use your particular technique if you would like to. Excuse me. When you're ready, you can bring your body into the best alignment for your relaxation. So it could be with the feet nice and wide if the body's on the floor, with the back extended so you feel like your nose is in line with your navel and the space between your feet. And where possible, relaxing your arms far away from the body so the backs of the shoulders can really soften to the floor. Turning the palms upwards if that is the position that suits you best. It might be palms towards the body. It's unlikely to be palms down, but some people are wired that way. And then here in this position, allowing the back of the head to be really heavy, a gentle turn of the head from side to side. So we're not looking for fast movements, we're looking for a nice slow movement from one side to the other, giving you the opportunity to feel your way into that sense of releasing down. Feel any awarenesses you have as a result of your practice. When you're ready, you might like to do a few smaller movements more rapidly, just to rock across the back of the head. And then in your own time, bring your body to stillness. Take a deep breath in and sigh out as you exhale. Repeat 3 more times. A deep breath in. Let all of your effort go. Feel the body releasing tension from the shoulders and neck. Deep breath in. Allow your muscles to begin to relax. One more deep breath in and surrender back and down into the mat. Allow your breath to fall into its natural rhythm and fall into quietness. Take your awareness into your forehead, feel it soften. Feel the space between the eyebrows separating, spreading. the area around the eyes releasing. Your mouth, tongue, and jaw relaxing. Find that sense of softness across the throat, the shoulders, chest, arms and hands. Find a sense of heaviness in the back of the head, the back of the shoulders and shoulder blades, backs of the arms and hands. Allow that sense of heaviness to pervade the whole of the back of the torso, the length of the spine, the waist, the low back, the back of the pelvis. Feel a sense of softness across the chest, the space under the rib cage, sides of the body under the arms, the belly, and where the legs meet the torso at the front of the body. Feel a sense of heaviness in the backs of the legs, the heels of the feet. Allow that sense of softness in the fronts of the legs, the knees, the ankles, the tops and soles of the feet, the toes. Allow the whole of your body to feel heavy, warm, relaxed, releasing into the floor. With your whole body relaxing. Allow your breath to find a soft, quiet, gentle rhythm. Softening a little deeper with every exhalation. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back into your hands and your feet by moving your fingers and your toes, maybe rolling wrists and ankles. Apologies, I've got very cracky wrists at the moment to listen. Then when you're ready, you can take a deep breath in and stretch the body in any way that feels good. Maybe stretching down one side of the body and then the other. Maybe stretching the mouth in a yawn. You might like to bend your knees in. If you have been propped up in your upper body, you want to bend your knees in and then roll to one side and just take a moment to lie flat on your back once you've got your support out from underneath you. The rest of us can bring our knees into place, the feet on the bolster, and sway the knees from side to side, perhaps, if that feels good, or you might like to just do that with your feet on the floor. Just a little gentle sway of the knees from side to side. That feels good. And then for anyone who'd like to, you can bend your knees into your chest and make movements with your knees that massage out the back of the body, maybe create a nice little rocking and rolling. Whenever you're ready, rolling to one side and just spending a moment on your side, allowing your body to come round a little at a time. And then when you're ready, coming to any comfortable upright position, keeping your eyes gently closed if possible. Excuse me. Resting your hands across your chest, one palm on top of the other, softening the elbows and the shoulders, maybe just making sure the back of the neck feels good. Take this moment to bring into your heart space anybody, anything, or any cause which you feel could do with a little bit more compassion, a little bit more love. You might like to bring your chin towards your chest and hold this concept or this person or this place, this pet, in your heart, in the glow of your love for just a moment, as you gently smile to yourself. And when you're finished, you can raise your head, release your hands, open your eyes. I hope you've enjoyed this practice today. It is not unusual to feel a little stiffness across the upper back because we're not used to using it in quite this way. So over the next few hours, keeping this area of your body nice and warm, perhaps using a scarf and some cozy clothes. And you might enjoy a warm shower or bath later to just allow a little softness through those muscles and keep your body moving. If it feels stiff, just gentle movements to release out, and hopefully you won't carry any tension from this practice into the rest of your day. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your week too. Namaste.